Welcome to the Smart Notebook Getting to Know Your Software video, brought to you by the Technology Training Academy, a division of SG Resources. In this video we'll be looking at the floating tools. We'll see how you can access and hide the floating tools, how you can customize the floating tools and where they are best used. When you first load Notebook onto your PC, you might notice that you have a new icon on the left hand side. This little icon here is known as the Smart Floating Tools. It does exactly what it says. It's floating tools. It gives me some of the Notebook tools that I can use outside of Notebook. The toolbar has two handles on it, a double arrow and a whole lot of dots. The idea with these is if you click on the double arrows, it will disappear or appear. The dots allow me to drag and place my floating tools wherever I want. When I cross the middle of my screen, notice that it flips to the other side, and if I press those double arrows, it will then go and sit on the right hand side. A lot of people prefer to do this as they tend to have a lot of their own icons for their computer already on the left hand side. So let's look at that again so we can see which side we can place the floating tools. I click on the double arrow, that makes it appear. I click and hold and drag on the dots. When it crosses the middle, it'll flip across and I can click on the double arrows again. Now it is your choice whether you want to have the floating tools or not. So I can actually hide that complete toolbar away if you don't use it. At the bottom of my screen is my Notebook icon in the notification area. If I click on that, you'll see fifth from the top is Hide Floating Tools. If I click on that, my floating tools hide, meaning they're still there. So once again, if I click on my Notebook icon, it now says I can show the floating tools and they are where I left them the last time. So the choice is yours. If you're going to use them, keep them out. If you're not, you can hide them away. The floating tools, like I said, is to be used over other applications. So an example here is I'm on my desktop. If I click on the pen option, you'll notice that the digital ink layer appears. We discussed that in another video, but that allows me to now go right over any application I want. The floating tools has a number of options or tools that you can use. It also acts as a shortcut. So if I want to bring up the keyboard, I can click on the icon and that'll bring up the keyboard for me to use. In saying that, I can customize this toolbar to have the tools that I want. Right at the bottom of the toolbar is a little cog, and if I click on that, that brings up my Customize Floating Tools window. And there are a number of tools that can be used here. You can have as many pens as you want, so if you want to add pens onto your toolbar, you can. And it will be 3 pens instead of 2, and I'll look at how I can change those in a moment. The other tools are tools that we find in the notification area on the Smart icon, such as the recorder, the player, welcome center, instant conferencing. But there are some tools that we can use from Windows, such as the calculator, the magnifier. A good tool that I like to use is the Spotlight. So the way we do this is I simply drag across the tools that I want, and I have too many pens, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to drag that back into my customize area, and then I only have 2 pens. You can have more than one column. That means you can put as many tools as you want in there or have as many pens as you want. I'm going to click Done. Now if we have a look, I am currently on my desktop. I could open Notebook, and instead of having to go back down and find my Spotlight, I can use my Spotlight straight away. There's my Spotlight tool, and you'll see that it works over Notebook. And if I minimize that, I'm over my desktop and I can use that for hide and reveal activities. The floating tools are there for us to use outside of Notebook. We can use them over Notebook. They give us access to a number of tools that we can use from Smart Notebook, from Windows, and from Notebook itself. I only have 4 pens in my pen tray, but if I want different colors, I can add them to that. And how do I do that is, I click on the pen, and you'll see there's a little cog that appears. You click on that cog and it gives me the Properties tab to go and change that pen. So I can go change the color. I'm going to make it nice and blue. I'm going to change the thickness to a bit of a fat pen, and then I can go change its style. It can be a dashed, can start with a square, and it can end with a square. And I'm going to save those. Once I've saved those, now I have a blue dashed pen that I can use up and above the pens that I have on my pen tray. Thank you for watching the Smart Notebook Getting to Know Your Software video, brought to you by the Technology Training Academy, a division of SG Resources. We look forward to bringing you lots more videos about using smart hardware and the Smart Notebook software, and introducing you to our professional development courses. Please visit our website to see the latest videos available and what professional development courses are available.